November 13, 2024. 6 a.m. Manhattan. FBI agents are pounding on the door of a 26-year-old's apartment. They seize his phone, his laptop, his electronics. 1 week earlier, this kid's platform just did something no pollster, no pundit, no news network could do. It called the entire presidential election. Every single state. Nearly $3 billion was bet through his website. And now the federal government is at his door. His response? He posts on X, new phone, who dis? This is the story of Shane Coplin. A college dropout who went from selling his furniture to make rent, to becoming the youngest self-made billionaire in the world. And the FBI raid? That's not even the craziest part. To understand how a 27-year-old built a $9 billion company, you have to understand who Shane Coplin was at 14. Because at 14, most kids are worried about homework. Maybe a crush. Video games. Shane Coplin emailed the Securities and Exchange Commission. He literally wrote to federal regulators asking how to create new financial marketplaces. At 14. 2 years later, he wanted an internship at Genius, the lyrics annotation startup. But he didn't apply through their website like a normal person. He just showed up. Walked into their offices uninvited. Talked his way into a meeting. He walked out with the job. That same year, 2014, Shane heard about something called Ethereum. A new cryptocurrency. Most people thought it was a scam. The price? 30 cents. Shane bought in. At 16, he became the youngest investor in Ethereum's crowd sale. That investment would eventually be worth, well, we'll get to that. But here's the thing about Shane. He wasn't some trust fund kid playing with daddy's money. He went to public school in Hell's Kitchen. He earned his own way. And the pattern was already clear, this was someone who didn't wait for permission. That quality, that refusal to wait, would eventually make him a billionaire. But first, Shane enrolled at NYU to study computer science. But he couldn't sit still. He kept chasing crypto projects. Kept trying to build things. Eventually, he dropped out. And for 2.5 years, everything he touched failed. By 2019, Shane Coplin was 21 years old. No degree. No successful company. No money. He was so broke that he walked through his tiny Lower East Side apartment, making a list of everything he could sell to cover rent. A laptop. Some furniture. Whatever he could part with. His office. A makeshift desk set up in his bathroom. A 21-year-old. Working from his bathroom. Selling his belongings to survive. At this point, most people would have given up. Gotten a normal job. Admitted that the whole dropout entrepreneur thing wasn't working out. And honestly, Shane was disillusioned. The crypto space in 2019 was a mess. Scams everywhere. Promises of revolution that turned into rug pulls. He was done with it. But then he stumbled onto an idea that would change everything. And it came from a place you'd never expect, an economics professor's obscure. Robin Hanson is an economist at George Mason University. For decades, he'd been writing about something called prediction markets. The concept is simple but powerful. What if instead of asking experts what they think will happen, you let people bet real money on outcomes? Think about it. When someone has to put actual money on the line, they stop performing. They stop virtue signaling. They stop saying what sounds good. They bet what they actually believe. And when you aggregate thousands of those bets, you get something remarkable. A price that reflects the collective wisdom of everyone with skin in the game. The economist Friedrich Hayek called this the knowledge problem. No single person, no expert, no government, no AI, can know everything. But markets can aggregate dispersed information in ways nothing else can. Shane read this and had a realization: this is too good of an idea to just exist in white papers. Prediction markets weren't new. But they'd always been clunky. Academic. Limited. What if you could build one that was fast, global, and actually fun to use? What if you could build it on blockchain so it was transparent and trustless? And then, COVID happened. March 2020. The world shuts down. And Shane watches something that infuriates him. Misinformation. Everywhere. COVID predictions that were wildly wrong. Expert models that missed by miles. People screaming at each other on Twitter with zero accountability. Everyone had an opinion. Nobody had to back it up with anything. What if you could price truth? What if instead of arguing about whether something would happen, people had to put money on it? Locked in his apartment, Shane started building. No regulatory approval. No legal team. No advisory board. Just a 22-year-old with an idea, some coding skills, and absolutely nothing to lose. 3 months. That's all it took. In June 2020, Polymarket launched. And the timing? It was perfect. Because in 5 months, America would have the most Within months, over $10 million was wagered on a single question: will Trump win the 2020 election? Polymarket had found product-market fit at the exact right moment. In October, they raised a $4 million seed round led by Polychain Capital. The crypto world was buzzing. The mainstream media started noticing. This weird little platform was actually working. And then the government showed up. January 2022. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission files an enforcement action against Polymarket. The charge: operating an illegal, unregistered trading facility for binary options. The penalty: $1.4 million. The condition: stop serving American users. Immediately. Think about what this meant. Polymarket was headquartered in New York. Built by an American. Its biggest market was Americans betting on American politics. And now, they had to geo-block their entire home country. Most startups don't survive losing their primary market. Most founders would have folded. But Shane paid the fine. Blocked US users. And kept building. Because he was betting on something bigger than America. 2022-2023. Early 2024. While American prediction markets stayed frozen in regulatory limbo, Polymarket quietly went global. Users from over 150 countries discovered a new way to engage with world events. Would Elon actually buy Twitter? What would the Fed do with interest rates? Would Russia invade Ukraine? People weren't just watching the news anymore. They were betting on it. And those bets were creating something no news network could: real-time probability assessments driven by actual stakes. The team kept shipping. Better UX, faster settlements. More markets. And the whole time, there was this irony hanging over everything. A New York company, in a New York apartment, couldn't serve New Yorkers. But Shane was patient. He knew something most people didn't. Every 4 years, Americans become obsessed with one thing. June 27, 2024. The first presidential debate. Biden stumbles. Badly. The whole country watches a president struggle to complete sentences. The next morning, pundits are spinning. He had a cold. One bad night. It doesn't change anything. Pollmarket says otherwise. Within days, the odds of Biden dropping out surge from 20% to 70%. Mainstream media calls it ridiculous. Premature. Irresponsible. 3 weeks later, Joe Biden withdraws from the race. Pollmarket called it. But that was just the warm-up. November 5, 2024. Election night. Every major poll shows a dead heat. 50-50, toss-up. Too close to call. Talking heads are preparing for a long night. Maybe a long week. Everyone remembers 2020. Pollmarket has Trump at 58%. Not a toss-up. A clear lead. The first results come in. Then more. Then more. At 11:43 p.m., Pollmarket hits 95% confidence for Trump. The Associated Press won't make the call for another 6 hours. Pollmarket saw it coming. While every network was hedging, while every expert was equivocating, a prediction market built by a college dropout in a bathroom office called it. And when the dust settled, Pollmarket correctly predicted every single state. Not just the winner. Every state. $3.2 billion was traded on the presidential race alone. $19 billion across all election markets. Robinhood rushed to launch their own prediction markets. So did Interactive Brokers. Everyone wanted to be Pollmarket now. And then, 1 week later, the FBI showed up. November 13, 2024. 6 a.m. Federal agents enter Shane Copland's Manhattan apartment. They seize his phone. His electronics. Everything. The allegation? Despite blocking U.S. users, some Americans may have accessed Pollmarket using VPNs. Shane isn't arrested. He isn't charged. But the message is clear. His response on X. New phone, who dis? Pollmarket's official statement called it obvious political retribution by the outgoing administration against Pollmarket for providing a market that correctly called the election. Was it political? Was it legitimate enforcement? People argued for months. But here's what actually happened next. July 2025. The Department of Justice formally closes its investigation. No charges. The CFTC closes its investigation too. Pollmarket acquires a CFTC-licensed exchange for $112 million. They now have a legal path back into America. And then, October 2025. Intercontinental Exchange, the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, invests $2 billion in Pollmarket. The valuation? $9 billion. Shane Copland, at 27 years old, becomes the youngest self-made billionaire. 6 years. That's how long it took to go from inventorying furniture to make rent, to a $9 billion valuation backed by the most powerful financial institution on earth. The platforms that tried to copy Pollmarket launched after Shane had already won. The regulators who tried to shut him down eventually let him back in. The raid that was supposed to intimidate him became a footnote in a victory lap. But here's what actually matters about this story. It's not really about one guy getting rich. It's about an idea that worked. The idea that crowds with skin in the game know more than experts with nothing to lose. The idea that prices reveal truth in ways that arguments never can. The idea that if you make people bet on their beliefs, the bullshit disappears. In 2024, every major institution got the election wrong. The polls. The pundits. The forecasters. A bunch of anonymous gamblers on a crypto website got it right. That should tell us something. Shane Copland bet on prediction markets when nobody else would. He bet on himself when he had nothing. And sometimes, the best bet is the one nobody else is willing to make. If you made it this far, you're clearly interested in stories about underdogs who bet big and won. Drop a comment. What's a prediction market you'd want to see? What question should the crowd be pricing? And if you want more stories like this, founders who defied the odds, companies that changed industries, ideas that shouldn't have worked but did, subscribe and hit that bell. Because the next poly market is being built right now.